one of the most popular films of and honored films last year was Django, about slavery, and it featured black actors, majority of black cast. This year it's The Butler, about an African American man who was butler in the White House, serving 8 different presidents. And if you've heard of Oprah Winfrey, she's in it as well. So we've come a long way from this portrayal of blacks on screen for comic relief. They were maids, they were con men, they were the go-to person to make everybody laugh, but they were not taken seriously. So we've seen a great deal of improvement in the image, but the image often panders to stereotypes. People think, or those who create the messages think in terms of stereotypes, that black people look a certain way, act a certain way, think a certain way, and sometimes that's not presented in a very positive way. But we do have exceptions. I have seen many movies with Will Smith or Denzel Washington, Samuel Jackson. These are actors with tremendous presence on screen, and they're not ones that will take on roles that they might see. They might be a bad guy in the movie, but the portrayal is one that is not going to be an embarrassment for them, or that is below their culture or whatever, or disrespectful to African American people for them to play this role. In fact, so it just depends on the casting and what the roles speak for. But at the center of all of this is, for the most part, there are whites who are behind the production, or create the characters, or write the characters, or direct the actors. But it all depends on the portrayal. There is a difference in terms of men. Men can be portrayed as masculine, as heroes. They can be family men. Sometimes women are just portrayed as the sex pot goddess, the mother type. It just depends on the casting. One of the most successful black directors and producers, a man by the name of Tyler Perry, he is criticized because he creates characters that are often rely on stereotypes. He has a very popular character named Medea. He plays a woman, an elderly woman, but her portrayal is one that is stereotypical of what media messages send out all the time about the black woman. She's large, she's aggressive, she doesn't, takes no prisoners, she's just runs the place. And so if you have a black director like a Spike Lee, it is his interpretation of black. He's very vocal in his criticisms of Tyler Perry because he, as a black director, is vehemently opposed to the portrayals that Tyler Perry, as a director, puts on the big screen. But they make money. Of black characters in American films. As I said earlier, they went from being comic relief or characters that weren't taken seriously, that were there just to make people laugh. They didn't have lives, they didn't have families, but they were there to advance a story for the white lead. Back in the 70s, a period of films called black exploitation, films like Shaft, Richard Roundtree, African-American actor, where all of a sudden African-American men became the heroes. They were the good guys. They saved the day. They got the girl at the end. They were plain roles that generally a white guy would play. But in these black exploitation films, just changed the environment. They operated in Harlem, New York, or they operated in an African American environment of gangsters. And the white guys were the bad guys. So at the end of the day, they're going to bring down the white guy, who is the bad guy, and the black guy is the hero, and he gets the girl at the end of the movie. One of the most popular television shows in America was the Cosby Show. And it starred a comedian by the name of Bill Cosby. And the portrayals on this show were so positive. He was a doctor, she was a lawyer. These are black people. And they live in a brownstone. They have 3 beautiful children, grandchildren, all of this. And the show was never about race. But you knew it was about race because the lead characters were all black. The guest stars or other actors on it were white, but they were not the stars of the show. All of the stars were black. And race was never an issue. America welcomed these families, this particular black family, into their home. Black president was in the White House in real life. A black president existed on television on 24. A white woman was a president on Prison Break. A white woman was a president on a failed TV show called Commander-in-Chief. But television prepares you. So one day when Hillary Clinton or a woman is the president of the United States, it won't be a big deal because they've already seen it. There was no big brouhaha over a black man being president